Hello and welcome to the video where I show you how to get started with the Shell Starter Kit on Mac. If you are on Windows, that is a separate video, although in either case the instructions can be found here at github.com/blairw/shellstarterkit. And now for today's video, I have got this little plugin installed that shows you when I use keyboard shortcuts. That's going to be really handy, so you can follow along with the keyboard shortcuts at home. I like to use keyboard shortcuts. They make me faster because I move faster with a keyboard than a mouse, just like most people. Okay, so anyway, let's go into the Mac instructions. You can see here the first part of this document tells you about starting with the terminal. Mac comes with a built-in Unix command line because Mac is built on Unix. So you can get here just by clicking on Launchpad and going to the terminal. There is also a key on your keyboard that opens Launchpad, and you can also use Spotlight and just type terminal.app and it goes there as well. When you're here, if the text is too small, you can use the keyboard shortcut Command plus. Well, it says there Command spacebar because the plus and the spacebar on the keyboard are the same key. Yeah, this will be good enough for us to install the stuff we're actually going to use, but I wouldn't recommend this for any actual programming work. Now, the first thing you need is to install Homebrew. Homebrew, as it says here, is the most common and straightforward way to install additional command line programs on Mac. It can also install regular old desktop Mac apps, not offered through the App Store, and we are going to need to use some of those as well. So you can hold down Command and click on this, and it will open up in a new tab. And you can see here there's... Oh, I didn't mean to adjust the volume. You can just grab this, Command C, and go to your terminal and Command V. Now, I've actually already got Homebrew installed, so for me, this isn't going to do anything. But for you, it will be a good thing to do. It will also ask you for your computer password. Now, I'm going to type in my password. You can't see it, but it was typed, I promise. Okay, so once you get there, you can hit return. In your case, this will actually install Homebrew. In my case, it is reinstalling Homebrew. Doesn't make much of a difference. Actually, I think it might be upgrading Homebrew, which is nice and handy. Alright, this is done now, so we can actually go back to the instructions. We don't need this anymore, so you can close this with a Command W. What's next? Okay, you can start installing stuff using Homebrew, for example, rclone. I think I've already got rclone installed, but, let's see what this does. You gotta hit Enter, or Return, or whatever it's called on your keyboard, and this will do something. Yeah, I've already got rclone installed, so that's not gonna do anything. Let's move on. You don't really... I mean, this is a nice thing to have. I just wanted to demonstrate how you can install stuff using Homebrew. The next thing to do is to install Cascadia. Cascadia is a font made by Microsoft, which will work nicely with the plugins that we're going to use for today. So go over to this website. It's actually another GitHub repository. It's the releases page. Just go over to the zip file over there for the most recent version. It says 2007, but I think that's just the release number. Now, I've already downloaded that beforehand when I was testing these instructions, but, I'm going to go over to my downloads folder like so. You can see I've already had the folder extracted there, but I'll just pretend I didn't have that. I had tried these instructions earlier. So just double-click this. It'll actually extract the same folder that we had before. That's good. Okay, so once that's extracted, go to OTF. That's the one you want, and select everything using Command A, and then Command down to open them. These 24 files amount to 4 actual fonts. So if you just click this and just go through and install all of the fonts, and then you will have the Cascadia font installed, which is nice and handy. So it even comes with a light version. That's real cute. That's not really going to be what we need. Anyway, the fonts are installed. I don't need this anymore. I can close this as well. Now let's install the app iTerm2. This is a nice Mac app for your computer. Copy that there, go to your terminal, paste that there, and then you will have iTerm2 installed after this. So once that's done, you can close this terminal, and you can actually quit it because we're never going to use that again, for today at least. In fact, if you've got it on your dock, get rid of it, because I recommend from now on you use iTerm2. Oh, well, it just appears as iTerm, but that is version 2. Pop it onto your dock there if you're so inclined, and if you open it, this is going to be a better terminal. Now, it does say that it's off the internet. Apple prefers if you install stuff through the App Store because they get a nice cut of the profits there, but this is a free open source app, so there's no profit for Apple to get. Anyway, just click open. It's fine. It did actually say that it's inspected for any malware. So this, as you can see, it looks slightly different, but it is a working ZSH shell in a different terminal. We want to go ahead and make some little changes to the preferences. So let's go. iTerm preferences. They are different tabs. Go to appearance, and you just want to set this. Well, let's move this aside so I can actually see what's going on. Appearance, general, theme. Let's make it dark, because everything that's going to happen here is going to be with a dark theme. Go ahead to profiles. Oh, that's bigger, so I need to move that. Text, font, okay, text, and then font is Monaco. We want to use Cascadia Code PL, one of the fonts we just installed. You might want to make this 16 so it's nice and readable. It's up to you, really. I think that looks a lot better, but my eyesight isn't exactly the best. All right, item, profile, preferences, text, and we don't want it to use the thin strokes, because why would you do that? Just keep it as is. Nice and readable. It doesn't make much of a difference if you're using an old computer like me. If you're using one of those Retina iMac, MacBook Pro things, then that will make the font a little bit thicker, so it's nice and readable. Preferences, profiles, keys, presets. So this is important if you want to use some keyboard shortcuts later. So just go ahead and click that. And we are done with the configuration. And as it says here, please use iTerm 2 instead of the Mac terminal from now on. Okay, let's install Visual Studio Code. This is a nice integrated developer environment for your Mac that allows you to do coding for various programming languages, including but not limited to JavaScript and Python. Go ahead, do that. It's going to think about life for a moment. It's going to upgrade Homebrew, update Homebrew. It's going to install Visual Studio Code, which is great. So once that's done, you can go ahead and open Visual Studio Code, and guess what? It is also through the Launchpad. And guess what? We're also going to have the same issue we had before. Where it says that it's not through the App Store, so it doesn't like us, but we're going to make it work anyway. So click on it. It is going to think about life for a moment. It is then going to give us the little pop-up. It does say that Apple checked it for malicious software and none was detected, so it is safe to use, but of course they made that text extra light, so they don't want you to use it. But it isn't available through the App Store. Just use this one. It is good. Okay, once it is open, you want to go ahead and change the font. The way you do that is Visual Studio Code, Preferences, Settings, and Editor Font Family. Let's just make that a bit smaller so we can see what's happening. Well, actually, the menu is just called Code because, of course, it is Preferences and then Settings. Okay, and then here, you can actually just go ahead and grab this and paste it here. And, oh, I think I already configured this earlier. Well, whatever you have here, just make sure that it's the same as what I've got here, and then you're good. You can also change the color theme. Go to Preferences and Color Theme. I would advise that you keep it to dark. You can use light if you want, if you really don't like the dark theme because you like to work outdoors in the sun. But later on, it is going to look really weird if you're using a light theme. So I would recommend you stick with the dark themes if possible. Okay, let's go ahead and install ZSH Power Level 10K. This is great. Okay, so if you haven't done so already, make sure you are using ZSH. If you're using the latest version of Mac, which at the time of recording is Catalina, you can be assured that it is probably already ZSH. But look, either way, oh, and if this happens, just click. Whatever you prefer. I don't like to do that because I can just upgrade it through Homebrew. I would recommend you upgrade it through Homebrew as well. Anyway, as I was saying, you should go ahead and copy this and paste it here, even though I am pretty sure that because I am on Catalina, no changes are made. But, you know, you can't be too sure. You don't want to be using Bash. It's good to be using ZSH. Now, the next thing you want to do is install oh-my-zsh. It is a nice plugin on top of ZSH to make it more useful. You can click on that. Now, grab this, but don't grab the $sign because the $sign isn't actually part of it. Go ahead and copy it and then paste it here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are now at the stage where that is installed. I'm pretty sure it's installed. If you're not sure, try to run something. And if it runs, I think you're okay. Okay, let's go back to the instructions. As it says here, once you've got oh-my-zsh installed, get this theme. You just copy that there, paste that there. It is being downloaded from GitHub because that project is also hosted on GitHub, as are many things. Cool, so that's done. The next step is to get this. This is the configuration file for the Power Level 10K plugin that we've got, so you don't have to configure it yourself. On Windows, unfortunately, they do have to configure it for themselves, so aren't you lucky that on Mac this seems to work fairly nicely. Now go ahead and edit ZSHRC. That is a configuration file for the ZSH shell. Because this starts with code, it opens in Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's have a look. Now this text is absurdly tiny. Let's make it bigger. I did the command plus thing again. But now we don't have enough space, so I'll just resize it like so. Alright, we need to find the ZSH theme. That is by default Robbie Russell. I don't want to do that. I want to do this one. So let's do this one. Let's use that as the theme. Good. Alright, we want to use the virtual environment plugin for Python because that's going to be real useful. That's actually pretty much the entire reason why we're doing all of this. Now, I'm not going to do this the old-fashioned way and type it out because I might type it wrong. So I'm just going to go and copy this and paste that there. Never type things manually if you can just copy and paste. Except for plagiarism things, that's a different story. I mean, like in terms of copying precise instructions for your computer. All right, let's go to the bottom. Let's grab that. Let's go and paste that there. Okay, good. You want to close this, and you want to go ahead and open iTime, and oh well, it's didn't close it before. All right, let's open that again. Let's see what we've got. Huzzah! We've got the nice plugin. I'll show you. So, for example, if you go to your desktop, you can see it follows wherever you go. That's pretty cool. If we make a new folder called Hello World and go into there, you can see it really keeps tracking what you're doing. Okay, I want to show you some stuff with Python. So, firstly, we have to install Python. I'm pretty sure I've already got this installed, but you know what? Just go ahead and run it on your side just to be safe. It's gonna try to fetch Python off of Homebrew. So Mac comes with Python built in, both Python 2 and Python 3. But the latest version of Python 3 is available from Homebrew, and as of time of recording, it's 3.8.5. So here's the thing. By default, the Python that executes on your computer is going to be the Mac one. Now, you just put this line here, and that'll make sure that you're using the Homebrew one. And it also has this interesting trick where, so Python, usually this takes you to Python 2, but because of the trick we did, it should go to Python 3, but it hasn't because I haven't restarted my terminal. So actually take note of this, right? Here, I've changed the shell configuration. I've typed Python, but because I didn't restart the shell, it's still using the old configuration, which takes us to Python 2 if we type Python. Let me just close that for realsies, opens it here, and then type Python. It's now Python 3. Now, you should always use Python 3 as the instruction. Like so. It goes to the same place. But it's good that we've set it up so that if you do type just Python accidentally, it doesn't take you to Python 2. But for good practice, always try to type Python 3 to be sure, because a lot of computer systems haven't got this configured, and if you type Python, it'll go to Python 2, and bad things will happen, and you don't want that to happen. Let's close this now. Alright, so I want to show you something. The Windows version of this video also comes with a little demo of running like a little Python program and with the virtual environments. So I'm actually going to go ahead and look at the Windows instructions for this because this part is the same. All right, so we don't need this. We don't need this. We've already got Visual Studio Code installed. We do want to set up a new project. So go ahead into your terminal. I think I already did this, but I'm just going to go to my desktop folder and then Hello World. That's pretty much what they ask you to do here. Make their Hello World. Cool. You don't need to install Python pip and virtual environments. They come built in with the Python package we installed for Mac. We do want to, however, figure out how to use virtual environments. So go ahead and copy this and paste it here. So what this is doing is it's creating what's called a virtual environment for Python. You see, there are various packages that we use within Python, and between different kinds of data science-y, data analytics-y projects, we may need to use the same packages, but different versions of it depending on each project. So in order to make sure that each project can use its own version of whatever package, we create a virtual environment where all that stuff is stored. So if you do an lslah here, you can see there's a folder here called .venv, and that's where we're going to have the packages for this project. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this, and that's now changed the thing on the right. This is pretty much the entire reason we installed this fancy version of the shell, because this will always tell us which virtual environment we're in. You see, if you accidentally forget to get out of here, you'll end up mucking up your projects. So you always want to make sure that you are only in here when you need to use it, and once you're done with it, always make sure you deactivate, and that takes you out of that virtual environment. So this is how you go into the virtual environment. This is how you get out of it. Nice and handy, and it's great that we can always see what's happening there. Now, just like they do here, we can use code and then space and then dot. That opens Visual Studio Code in this folder, which is fantastic. We don't have to worry about the whole remote forwarding thing though. This is now absurdly big, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. You can see we've got the .venv folder here. Now, if I do, I think Control tilde, it opens up the terminal here. So this is the same kind of terminal as we've got here. That's why I was asking us to change the fonts in Visual Studio Code as well. So once we're here, you can do touch. And what kind of file name do they want us to have? It doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent. Touch test.py. So touch is to create a new file. Test.py is a Python script. And in here, we just put a little print hello world. Oh, cool. So it knows I'm doing Python stuff. So actually, you can install the Python extension. You can either do it this way, but I think it's better to follow their instructions. So just find Python by Microsoft. I think this is the extension thing here. Oh, wow, cool. Okay, I must have installed it previously. Well, if it's not installed, you just go ahead and find it. And yeah, there's always an install button. Oh, but I guess I must have installed it on an earlier testing run, but just make sure you've got that plugin. It's nice and handy. Okay, so once I've got this, I can save it and I can do Python. Yeah, I'll install that as well. That's a useful little thing. So once I'm here, I can do, whoa. Oh, cool. So this is installing stuff using the terminal there. Okay, so now that that's done, I can actually run a Python script right here by going python 3 test.py. Hello world. Cool. You can, I mean, like just to really prove to you that that's the same thing. And let's make that one French. Why not? Yay. Okay, cool. That's working. Well, fantastic. We've set up everything we need to set up, and I've actually been able to do a bit of a demo. Oh, and don't forget to deactivate. This has been wonderful. Good luck with your own installations, and thanks for watching. Bye now.